Most, Arthurian legend-based games are actually based around the Arthurian legend of Excalibur. However, Monarchs of Camelot actually takes place after Arthur's death, and it's going to describe all the upheaval of who is going to become the next monarch of Camelot. Does this sound interesting? Well, I'm about to tell you, after having played the game, if this is going to be worth the amount of money that you either have to back to get it when it comes out in crowdfunding, or to pay to get your hands on it. So play we all. As you can see, this is a very comprehensive game, and although you can see an awful lot of stuff, there is more, because this game is for 4 players and I only have the cards for 1 player. What's going to happen in this game? Well, this is a story-driven game in which there are going to be a certain number of scenarios, and in those scenarios we are going to use our characters to fight with each other. Depending on what kind of scenario, we are going to have some goals and some special abilities that the scenario itself is going to set up, and we're going to fight each other so we can get to Camelot. We're going to fight for prestige points, happiness points, and health points, and then there's going to be this timing here which is going to determine when we get to 0. At the point when we get to 0, the winning or the ending conditions of each scenario are going to trigger, and then we will figure out who's won and who hasn't. What appears to be a very simple explanation, because it's taking me about, 1 minute to tell you what this is going to be all about. In reality, this is a fairly complex, complicated, but not brutally so game that for once it mixes very well the theme, the story, and the mechanisms within the gameplay, which is something that sometimes you see games wanting to be a storytelling game and then the mechanics have nothing to do with the story, or the mechanisms are just something completely random that don't add up to the story at all, and that really isn't good. Also, Monarchs of Camelot has a very interesting component of resource management, which adds another layer of complexity to what is a very engaging game, almost from the start. So, roughly, how does it play? Because we have a full video on how the game plays, that we play the whole mission. So, how does this game play? As I said, we're going to have 4 different characters, and you see the colors in here in red, green, blue, and yellow. And each character is going to have its own deck and its own missions and ways to behave, which is very interesting. So, for instance, I have here Lady Nimue. This is her, and Lady Nimue has a couple of interesting things. One is the Power Ascension card, and what that means is every character is going to have certain conditions by which at the moment they reach them, you will turn the character card and become this empowered version of themselves, which will allow them to do a lot more. The characters have a specific ability and specific goals within themselves as well, together with their own deck of cards. Every player is going to have 3 cards, which is going to be our hand, and we're going to choose 1 card to play every round. Why is this important? And this is one of the things that I really was very taken with this game when I played it. Every card is divided in 2 halves, the left and the right. Both halves are going to give you certain actions that you can perform, but you can only choose the card once, and you have to either put it to the left or to the right of the main character card. So let's say, for example, that I'm going to use this card in here, and I want to put it, I don't know, here to the right. Okay, goody goody. That means that I'm going to get immediately one action. So something is going to happen. In this case, I'm going to get 1 gold. That's ta-da for me. And then, depending on what resources I have, I will be able to use those resources to trigger these actions. So for instance, if I have a Soul Jedi token, I can place it here, and that will allow me to place 1 gold. So that will be this little icon token with a chalice on it, to the Collector's Guild, and move Mask of Dionysus to your fief. A fief is the pool where you host all your resources. The Collector's Guild comes with Lady Nimue, and with that come 5 different relics, and each relic is going to give you a boon. So this will allow you to move this relic. Once you have used this action with the token, you need another action or another token to be able to move it, or to place it, which means taking one of the tokens from the pool and bringing in to make it an additional resource. Once you have run out of actions that you can do, the game continues. This card, as you can see here, is the character card that will tell you what the beginning conditions of the card are going to be. So what resources they are going to have, and you can also have the special actions, like for example in Lady Nimue would be if you place one of the advisors on here, you get Sorcerer's Acumen, which means that you get 1 magic point and a gold. Those will go to your fief, the pool of resources that you're going to have access to during the game, and be able to allocate them as and when the actions allow. That's it. Then we get the scenario cards. You can see this in the center of the of my table. This is the scenario, the journey book with all the scene, all the locations for the scenarios that you're going to be playing. So we have the throne room, the outlands, the village, the battlefront, the dragon's outpost, the besieged Camelot, a chapel, the lake, the market, the great forest, the mansion, the great hall, the courtyard of stone, Avalon, the cave, the dungeon corridors, and the fort, and the joust arena, and the foreign castle, and the ruins. Yeah, we're going to be going to an awful lot of places because we have this massive deck of cards, and right now it's 120 cards, and I believe they are going to be even more when this game is finally produced, with tons of scenarios. In a nutshell, this game is going to work as a choose your own adventure with resource management added to it. Because of every location is going to have different conditions, that you can apply to the other characters, that this is how you can affect other characters. It is important to play, as many missions as possible so you can see all these things and how they're going to interact, which is, as far as I'm concerned, a very, very important and very interesting aspect of this game. So literally just putting the card in here, you will have a fluff, a little bit of text as to how the story begins, what is going on, etc., etc., and it will tell you, this is the initial card, which is the one that we played in the how to play video, and it is an unexpected summoning, and you can play with negotiation or war. So you can be subtle, or you can just go banging on the door and screaming because this Grey Knight is saying, hey, I am going to be the next king of Camelot, not you. And it's a bit like, wait, what? Maybe not, mate. Let's go into it and discuss, or not. When you get the second card, it tells you what the scene is as an expected summoning, then what the location is. So in this case would be the throne room. So you literally find the throne room in here. There you go. First page. The throne room, and then bring 3 knights into play. And then you get your special rules. I am reading because my sight is not very good, even if I wear glasses. Once per round, a player may move a requested token from their fief onto a speaker of their choice. Round end, if a speaker has a number of tokens higher than the number of players, you must choose your path. Do you need the knights spy picked land, or do you visit the borders? Knight speakers will support blah blah blah. That's it. And you begin play. Simple as that. You're going to be competing, and this is going to be very, very important: prestige, happiness, and health. And sometimes you will have to do this in a specific number of rounds. The moment it reaches to 0, the card will tell you this is what happens. It is important to think about these 3 markings or point scoring, because sometimes, prestige may be the thing that will allow you to become, the Monarch of Camelot. Losing them may make you vulnerable to attacks. If you are the winning, the player with more prestige or happiness points, there might be some cards that will allow you to do things as you play them once, because you are the happy player. That's it. How did I feel about this game? Okay, I must admit at the beginning I was a little bit about it, because it took me a while to get to grips with how the gameplay worked. I am not very used to a lot of resource management in storytelling games, because I am more of a role player, and it's not really something that I play all the time. However, after 3 or 4 rounds, once I got to grips with how everything is meant to be working and I wasn't screwing up too much, wow, things did change a lot, quite a lot. Every character is going to have a mission, a goal that will allow them to get a number of victory points, prestige points, that will give them that edge to become the monarch. In this case of Lady Nimue, this is like power ascension. In the case of the character that I was playing, was to decipher 8 runes. There are many ways to get to your mission, as in to become the monarch. One is to go for that power. Second is to get those missions. Third is to mess up the rest of the players. Usually a combination of all should work. But this is not a one-size-fits-all, and the thing I like about the variety in which you can achieve your goals for and to become the Monarch of Camelot is that you don't have to play the same character and people will realize, because you're playing the same character, that you're playing it in the same way. You can play the same character in different ways, so that adds to the replayability. The other thing is I found that the game is very, very well balanced. Even if you are going to be very vulnerable to some of the other characters' machinations, there's still going to be something that you can do that will give you that little bit of an edge. You just have to learn how to do it and at what point. The resources in this game are scarce, and scarcity, believe it or not, is a way to make you think very carefully as to how you're going to do things. If you go willy-nilly like I did at one point and just begin to spend resources, eventually you're going to find yourself with nothing to do, because you have no soldiers, no advisors, no magic points to use anywhere. That is not a great thing. Trust me, it just doesn't work. The fact that we're going to be having knights, characters, in here that will allow us to use our resources for them to give us more actions. Wow, I really, really love that. And the fact that you can choose how to place your cards wisely, I really loved that. One thing that I found ever so frustrated in a good way, but frustrated nevertheless, is that every single card is going to have an action that you will want to do. Always. On each side. But you can do them both. So choosing what you sacrifice is super important. Super, super important. Which again adds to the replayability of the game, because playing on the left of your character and playing on your right of the character is going to have a completely different flavor, and it's going to give you access to completely different actions. I like that a ton, a gazillion. How did it feel playing this game? Once the initial frustration of trying to understand how the game plays wore off, I truly began to enjoy this massively. I was late when I was playing to understanding how deciphering the runes that I had was going to help me probably get a few points a lot sooner. I just didn't get that. I didn't get that once you have a number of cards to one side or another, then you're locked in there and you always have to play to the left or to the right. Had I known that, I might have played slightly differently, but I didn't. So I'm looking forward to playing this again. And that, my friends, that is a good sign that the game is enticing and leaving you with, oh, damn. Overall, this game felt brilliant. Really, really good. Word of warning, people with analysis paralysis could find this game very analytically paralyzing. Okay, very. Because there are a number of choices and decisions to make. But those of you who enjoy a resource management and combo building game, seriously, this is for you. This game is for you. Getting a very good number of cards in here for each character, not knowing exactly which ones you're going to be getting, learning these cards and how they're going to be used. And so if you move this soldier here, then you can get these other two right now that you can use to do so and so, and then send this person to prison that you can do so and so with. Awesome. The fact that every time you change location, it's going to change slightly the way that you can mess the other players. Fantastic. fantastic. And the number of scenarios, I mean, that is a big deck of cards. More to come. The variety of all the knights, all the NPCs that you will be able to use, believe you me, is not going to bore you like ever. If you're considering, if you're watching this whilst the campaign is going on, I would encourage you to take a look at the how to play video, see how absolutely appalling I was at the beginning and at the end of the game, and consider it. If you like Arthurian legends, this is gorgeous, and it has an awful lot of characters that normally people wouldn't pay attention to. And if you like resource management and combo building games, this is for you. Believe me, this is for you. However, again, if you are easily struck by analysis paralysis, this game will give you an awful lot of food for thought. So think about it. The half an hour per player mark, I think is a little bit optimistic. I think this game will take perhaps 45 minutes per player. While you're thinking and everything, but also it's true that playing online, with Tabletop Simulator, things are a little bit slower, at least for me. And Anastasius was explaining the rule to me as well, so it might be a little bit shorter than the 2 hours that it took us, but I think it would be a little bit more than half an hour. However, being such a fun game, I am looking forward to playing it again and playing it with my friends, because I think they're going to absolutely adore it. If the stretch goals are obtained and more characters are being unlocked and more scenarios are being developed, this could be amazing. So please take a look. If you have any questions, or if you also have played this game, the previous edition of the game, that didn't manage to fund in Kickstarter, let me know. I would love to hear what you have to say. But if you have any questions about the rules or anything, hey, Anastasius will be taking a look at this, and we will be more than happy to answer them for you. Until the next time, thank you very much indeed for being there, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Take care.